Hello there, Shakers. Welcome to another episode of MindShack podcast. This podcast has been developing and growing beyond our expectations.
We would really love to thank you. That's all. And we hope you enjoyed today's video. Hello, greetings, Dumilang, Jumbo. My name is Silla, also sometimes known as Silla. And I would like to welcome you to season 4 of the MindShack episode, for season 4 of the MindShack podcast, rather. We are, of course, a Gen Z podcast that focuses on discussing societal issues, entrepreneurship, leadership issues, culture, and we do a lot of topics on psychology for Africans. All we do is shake out the cobwebs on the social issues we see in the world today, and we do this in an African way. And today's topic is, I think, a topic that you, our lovely mind shaker, will love. Everyone knows that we have all these life skill classes, and they've existed for a long time, whether it's in the form of an formalized education or informal education, learning how to make food with your grandmother, or all other kinds of life skills that have existed. And people sometimes experience a lack of preparedness with these life skills. And this can sometimes make people feel like they do not know how to adult. So today's episode is called Adulting 101. We talk about how do we bring ourselves together to encounter this large monster called adulting. Today, I had to bring in the help of a lovely friend of mine called Noni. Noni, hey.
Hi, Silla. How are you doing?
I'm alive. I'm well. I'm good. You've been you are on several episodes of MindShack, so you're no stranger to the podcast. Today is just a little back and forth conversation between you and I. We're going to be chatting a little bit about adulting, and just as you were preparing for this podcast episode, as we're going back and forth, you said that you had a chat with your friends, and you guys just like, adulting is a scam. And this is a chat that many people have had. Many people around me have had. I see many memes about it online on Twitter. It's just like, who brought us into this adulting thing? Like, I didn't ask for it. Like, take me back to where I was. So yeah, just tell me a little bit about how that conversation went. The whole thing that you guys said adulting is a scam.
I don't want to lie to you, man. Like, I'm really failing. Hey, I'm in the top tier of where Gen Zs are, and yeah. I'm definitely failing dismally at every single meeting for MindShack. I'm the one who's gonna say, I don't want to lie to you guys. I'm just breathing, because it's such a scam. I feel like I'm not prepared. I feel like, and this is a conversation that I've had with other people, we just all feel like we're not prepared, and we're all just sort of winging it. We all look like together and meeting at school, like we don't know what we're doing, and I feel like society has not helped. We've got school, sure, but I mean, did they teach us anything? I don't know. I don't feel like we have. I don't think we have any. I mean, do you feel like you've been prepped at all?
I don't feel. Sometimes I feel like I've been prepped. Sometimes I don't feel like I've been prepped. Many times the prepping that I have is just as, it's just like, I've tripped and fallen over this stone so many times that I must learn by now. Like, I've been broke so many times that I must have learned by now. Like, I've been heartbroken so many times that I must have learned by now. So for me, like, people have taught me how to adult, but I agree. I agree big time that it is a scam. Just, I don't know if this is a question that you would like to answer, just so that everyone can have context. But on the age scale, where do you find yourself?
Firstly, no one asks a lady their age.
That's why I say on the age scale, is it more towards the higher scale or the lower scale?
But then again, me saying what I've just said should tell you where I'm at.
Yeah.
I recently in August turned 31, which is scary to even say, because I feel like I'm still a teenager. So I don't understand how that works. But at 31, I just feel like, what's going on at this point?
Yeah.
My parents were married, they had kids, they had their
Yeah.
lives together, they had cars. I'm just like, yeah, how do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You wake up and suddenly you have all that stuff.
This is such an interesting point. I, in preparation for this episode, sorry, I was looking up some information on, and this is on a webpage called The Atlantic, and it's a really beautiful written article by a person called Nancy E. Hill and somebody called Alexis Redding, and this thing basically says that that people, like, age now has a really big factor. In the 1950s, people who were 26 were already married, men who were 26 were already married, women who were 22 were already married, and that age has gone slightly higher. So the things that our grandmothers achieved at a young age are no longer achievable. You know, there was so many things. It says that the first age, this says that the median age for first marriage of men rose from 23 in 1950 to 30 in 2018. For women, the median age of first marriage rose from 20 in the 1950s to 28 over the same period. So I just think that this research is not like, it supports what you're saying. You know, our parents, like, they look like they had it all together. Like, my dad, homie, was 18 and he had his first car, first house, 6 cows and a dog named Max, you know.
I
So
don't
yeah.
understand how that works. My thing is, like, at a certain age, you have no clue who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, and I always say this to my cousins and my sisters and stuff. Between 25 to 30, I feel like someone has a rubber, just an eraser. So the people that are 25 and at 30 are doing the same thing. You're at the same point. I mean, I'm an assistant, so basically that's like entry point in terms of qualifications. And so is my 25-year-old cousin. But also at the same time, my 35-year-old cousin is at the same age. So you sort of realize that age is just like a concept in your mind that you sort of grew up with. I mean, my dad always used to say, at 35, you should be peaking. But I watch 35-year-olds starting over now. Yeah. Which then means that there's much more freedom to do what you actually want to do rather than what your culture or your environment has told you to do. I mean, at my age, I probably should be married according to the rest of my family, but I still
according
feel
to
like
society.
Yeah. And I always say at this age, I feel like it would be teenage pregnancy if I got pregnant. Yeah. And I'm way over that line. It just feels like you get to know yourself more and more as you keep growing, but also there's parts of you that you have no clue about. So you're trying to figure that part out and you're trying to wing it and decide which part is society and which part is you. And I think that's like the weird hurdle that is adulting.
Yeah, yeah. Man, these are as the young kids say, these are facts. And I don't mean to belittle anyone. I consider myself young as well. I'm 27, if anyone's asking. I know no one's asked, but I'm 27, and like you, I feel like, man, what is this adulting thing? Like, at my age, I am not married. I have no car. I have no house. I have no 6 cars, and I have no dog called Max. So what am I actually doing? Am I doing with my life? But you said something interesting, and I'm like, it got me thinking, like, what does it mean? Like, when we say adulting, what does adulting mean? So I actually went and I put on my nerdy glasses and I looked up some stuff online. And I found an article by a guy called Richard Settersten. I think he's Danish. And this guy says there are 5 common factors associated with adulthood.
That's counting.
1, finishing one's education. 2, leaving home. 3, finding work. 4, finding a life partner. And 5, having children. People generally consider these, once you have all these factors, people then consider you an adult. And I think that many of us in our, let's say between our 20s and 30s, we have one of these things and don't have the others, and we feel like we're not fully accomplished. At the age of 25, you look at your friends who are 25 as well, and you find that some of them have already left home, some of them already have a job, a first job, and some of them are already married, while you're still studying a master's degree. So these are 5 factors that I think go across the board, and really like put a pinpoint on what it means to be an adult. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that? How do you feel about that?
I feel like they're so problematic. I say they're problematic because there are people like myself who, I mean, I studied for a while trying to figure out what I'm going to study. And then I finally at 26 decided, or 25, decided to go back to KZN and just settle down my mind and zen it out and actually finish an actual qualification. So that took me 4 years.
Yeah.
By the time I came to school, I think I was 20 or 29.
Yeah.
So what do you then say for someone who had to start over because this is not what they initially decided on, and now they want to start over? Everything for them is delayed. So moving out of home is delayed for me. Finding a life partner, who knows, whatever. Having a kid, I just don't feel like I'm stable enough. So I always delay that. Having my own home. So all these different things that you might feel, as someone like myself who started over, you feel like, oh, I don't have them together, so I'm not adulting.
Yeah.
But also the concept of being self-aware and knowing when you can fail and when you can do really well is also a part of adulting. So do we negate that because, all the 5 factors have not been figured out?
Yeah.
I mean, you're living, where you're living, but you're fully self-sufficient. As much as not all the 5 factors are together, you're self-sufficient and you're independent. If someone threw you into the world by yourself, no parents, no anything, I'm pretty sure you'd make it.
Yeah.
And you're pretty sure you'd make it. So does that mean you're not adulting? Does that mean you are adulting? Like, how are we going to go and wing it? How are you going to decide what, adulting actually is?
Yeah. I think the concept of, so we of course, this is 2021, and a lot of things are changing. Definitions on gender, gender roles, sexual orientation, age, like a lot of things are changing. And this is one of those things where even I am touched by it, and several young people are touched, or younger people are touched by it. Is that, we had these markers: finishing education, leaving home, finding work, finding a life partner, and having children. Some people are like, I don't want to have children. I've met a lot of people here in France that just don't want to have children. So does that mean now they're not an adult? I have found some people who just chronically find themselves in education. Like after masters, they did a second masters, after that is PhD.
A doctorate?
A doctorate, yeah, that's what I'm saying, and I find this so interesting. And then there's also like the factor of leaving home. Like each of these 5 things could be a podcast episode on its own, but like, for example, something like leaving home, like it's complicated. Like for my brother, it was hard because he didn't have a job at the time. He just finished his university. He didn't have a job, so he was forced to stay at home until like the age of 27, 28. And that, of course, made him feel less like an adult. As a personal story, I moved away from home when I was 14, so because I went to high school. So I feel like I've been quote unquote adulting this whole time. But if you take a factor like leaving home, in the US, like leaving home is like a big thing. Like, oh, my son is supposed to leave home, supposed to get out of here. But whereas in a place like India or in Saudi Arabia or in Egypt, kids are encouraged to stay at home as long as they need to. So you find people who are like 31, 32, 33 still living in their parents' home. And their parents are like, oh no, it's fine. Like my whole family's together, we're living under the same roof, there's no problem. In the African culture, where do we sit with regards to living at home? Do we push our kids to leave home, or do we push our kids to stay at home?
I'm really glad that you said that. I mean, in my household, funny enough, the markers usually you get a job. Okay, you go to school, you finish, you get a job, you contribute as much as humanly possible. And if you can leave home.
Yeah.
But usually, especially for females, especially because I'm Zulu, if you're Zulu and you're a female, you're mostly expected to leave home when you get married. So there's a weird like, do I leave home? Do I not leave home? And if I leave home, I have to always come back and give back, hence the concept of black tax. There's different markers for different cultures. So I know with my family, it's completely different. But also in my culture, generally, girls are expected to stay at home until they get married or when they are financially stable enough or get a car. And it's always frowned upon that guys always leave home and never come back. And then they come back with like a little wife or whatever. But also that's what we're taught. We're taught that you, as a guy, you just move out, go stay on your own, come back when you want to get married, and that's about it. Which means there's no level of independence that the girl has. She moves from the independence of the father to the husband, which then creates another problem where guys always say, oh, these girls want to be pampered, they want to be treated like children. Yes, that's because society's told us that that's what it is. So as much as, adulting for everyone is, there's different markers, there's also different markers within culture and within country.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's completely different for your culture.
Yeah. So in Kenya, it's pretty much the same thing. I consider myself Kenyan, but of course I grew up in South Africa. I spent 10 years in South Africa. So I understand the South African culture more or less well, but I tend to agree with you. Historically, well, not historically, but culturally, in the last like 100 years, maybe 200 years, the expectation on young men like myself was that you go to school, you gain all the skills that you can, and you leave the house. Like no son wants to be caught living with their parents, because that's a sign of immaturity. So you leave the house, you fend for yourself. Then when you find a wife, you bring her home, your parents will approve of this wife or whatever, and then you can like now go officially start your own colony, your own family. Whereas with women in Kenya, it's pretty much the same thing. You go from your parents' independence to your husband's independence, so your parents' dependence to your husband's dependence. But now, because more and more people are beginning to ascribe to a Eurocentric point of view, and because the world is going more to a soft skills based approach to success. I mean, soft skills is like, no one requires you to know how to chop wood anymore. No one requires you to learn how to hunt anymore. No one requires you to learn how to lift heavy blocks of cement anymore. All the people who do these things aren't earning much money. But who's earning money? The doctors, the lawyers, the accountants, everyone, people who are using their brains. And we've come to a realization that to use your brain, you can be both male and female, you can be both man and woman. So women are getting to that point where it's like, I don't need to be under the care of a man. I can go and live by myself, live my own adult life. So that's throwing these 5 factors out of whack, because suddenly a girl can leave home, a girl can find work, a girl can find a life partner, and if she wants to, a girl can adopt children. If she's bringing in 500,000 rand or $50,000 a year, she can adopt a kid. So it's changing the game completely on what adulting is for men and for women. Yeah, I think it's crazy. Yeah.
I'm glad that you're saying what you're saying. Recently, a family member of mine was just expressing how she's having some kind of clash in her relationship with her partner, who she's planning to marry, and the fact that she is a very independent female. Not independent in a form of like, I want to tell you that I'm independent. It's just, you found me with the house, you found me with the car, you found me taking care of things for my family. So you can't then expect me to then dumb that part of me down because it suits you in the moment. You like that I'm independent, that's why you started dating me, but now it's a problem when I express the fact that I don't need you to help me with A, B, and C, so don't hold that against me were you able to help me? And also, if you're trying to financially like assist me, that's nice, clap for you. That's, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
But it doesn't even cover half of the things that I now deal with. Then it causes problems for men to sort of figure out, where the heck do I fit in then? Because in my adulting life, I've been told I need to provide, I need to be with a woman who depends on me. I need to, there's different than standards that have been set by society and our cultures that are being dismantled, and people have to figure out their way around it, especially in relationships. It's very exhausting.
This is a thank you to you, a MindShaker, a listener of this episode. We highly, highly appreciate you joining in on all of these episodes. If you can just take a second to share this link to someone, to have them tap into these episodes, that will be so highly appreciated. You are the fuel to what we're doing here. So please share the link, please like, please comment, please subscribe or follow in whichever platform you're in. And we will see you on the next episode as you continue to fuel us through. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll agree with you that there are a myriad, a plethora of questions that we're asking ourselves about adulthood. And speaking of questions, it's time to play a game. We're gonna do a little question quiz thing that Noni you've prepared for us. You didn't let me see the questions before, but it's fine.
I don't need you to see the questions because you're going to lie if you see the questions.
All right. Walk us through this quiz. What questions are we going to be asking ourselves today?
If you want to expand on the answer, then you can expand. And I will tally up how much of an adult you are. So out of 10, I'm not saying anything.
Okay, let's go for it.
Okay, question number 1. I live or have lived alone at some points in my life.
Yes.
Okay. It's not bad. You're doing okay already. 2, I pitch in financially for my family.
No, because I'm the youngest.
And
as the youngest, it's the oldest, like it's the firstborn son's responsibility to pitch in for the family.
What? In what world? It works completely differently for females, right?
How does it work?
In my house, I am the middle child, but whatever money I get, I buy whatever I can. Yeah. If there's a problem and it needs to be fixed, I will try to fix it as much as humanly possible. There was an accident a couple of months ago. I had to pay for the whole accident, even though I didn't drive the car. It is what it is. What you can pitch in with, you can pitch in with.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
You guys have it very nicely, hey? Number 3, I freely communicate with my parents.
And I'm silent, like it's not because I'm glitching, but
I know what that glitch is. It's what is freely? How can we base freely? What does freely mean?
Yeah. I think I freely communicate with my yes, I'm honest with my parents. That's what I'll say. I'm honest with my parents. So they know everything that's going on in my life.
You do realize that freely communicate means like we can talk about anything as adults?
Yes. This is something that I would like to thank my parents for, because they've created an environment for me to do that. So yeah, I can say I freely communicate with my parents.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I know where my phone, keys, and wallets are at this exact moment.
I know where my phone, keys, and wallet are. Yes.
I'm so proud. You're doing such a good job. I taught you well.
Yeah.
I know
thanks.
how to do. I know how to do my own laundry.
Yes.
Oh, look at you!
I have a washing machine. I'm not African enough.
You're really not African enough, evidently.
Oh my gosh. I'm answering the question.
Okay. So I fold and hang clothes after they dry instead of crumpling them up in a
No,
pile.
I don't fold them immediately. It takes a couple of days.
So they sit in a crumpled pile on a chair that everyone has in their room.
Yes, and the chair, I'm sitting on it right now.
There's always a chair. Everyone has a chair and they put their stuff there. Who cares?
Yeah, so it goes from the chair to the bed and from the bed to the chair.
Duh. Depends what you need at the moment. What the hell?
Yeah.
I can wrap a gift, and this includes any gift.
No, I cannot. My gift is a checkbook.
What a thoughtless way to give people gifts.
I'm kidding. Joking. I cannot wrap a gift. I need to learn.
It's too late. You've gone over the age limit.
Yeah.
I can do minor repairs around the house.
Yes.
Why did you have to think about that?
Because I have to think of what is minor. I can change a light bulb. I can fix a door on a hinge.
Look at you. Looking like a good African man.
Yeah.
I own a sewing kit.
I do not. I don't.
Because why?
Because I don't know how to sew.
Oh my God. You know, I'm trying so hard. I own toiletries beyond soap, toothpaste, and shampoo.
This is a big yes, and I'd like to say that I'm a man, and I have more toiletries than most men do.
Look at you.
I have the exfoliator.
Okay, and one last question. This is a bonus question. It's really going to tell me how adulting
Yeah.
you're doing. My phone is not cracked.
Oh, no, my phone's not cracked. Thank God.
Wow.
My phone is not cracked. I see some people struggling out here with phones. Like people using half the phone, like the quarter of the phone. I'm like, how do you do it? Oh, don't worry, I know my phone. Can I buy you a new phone? Oh, no, don't worry, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool.
I don't want to lie. My screen protector is cracked. My second phone is completely, it's a hot mess. The top half does not work. And
Hey,
I'm not
man.
going to fix it.
I'm sorry, but the only thing I heard about that sentence is my second phone. So
It's my old phone. I had to buy this one to replace the nonsense that's going on with the other one. It was a hot
hey,
mess.
man, my second phone. That's all I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the score? I'd like to know how well I'm doing on this live.
Let's see the yeses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 10 questions, and then you got the bonus. So that's 7 out of 10.
70%.
70%.
Yes.
That's good.
You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. In my former university, that was considered a very high pass, and in some faculties, it's considered a distinction. So I'll take it. I'll take it.
In my country, that is a distinction. You're living on distinction. Please.
Yeah, perfect. Super interesting. These are questions that I think that we should all be asking ourselves, even if it's not for like to find how adult we are, even if it's just for fun, to chat with friends. You know what, Dani? I think we've come to the end of our chat. Any last things you want to say?
Yeah, the only thing that I do want to say is that adulting is firstly a scam, but also secondly, it's all a journey. I mean, my mom is 50, she's rediscovering herself. My father has been an entrepreneur all of his life, and he's trying to figure out the whole world of entrepreneuring, even though he's been in his, in entrepreneurship for so long. My friends are constantly shifting jobs. So it's all a journey. You're not going to figure it all out. Even at the age of 80, you can start over. It's don't even feel like you should feel a whole lot of pressure because you're not getting everything right. There's always going to be something to learn. It's never going to be perfect. It's all an opportunity to learn something new. So
Wow. That's a perfect way to end off this podcast. Thank you very much to Noni for taking the time to speak to me. Thank you also to our mind shakers for listening to this episode on Adulting 101. Please don't forget to follow us on social media and tell us your thoughts on different topics on the African continent, in the African context, and what these topics mean to you. And most of all, mind shakers, we encourage you to go out there and share anything you might have learned from this episode. Talk about it, chat about it, text about it, tweet about it. We all strive to learn together. And boldly, we want to shake the world. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, Sheila.
Thank you for listening through to the end. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe on your preferred podcast platform, or all of them.
There's going to be plenty of exciting episodes to come, so if you want to catch that, follow us on all social media platforms at MindShack Podcast, and of course, follow us or subscribe to us on our YouTube platform or our YouTube channel at MindShack, and of course, see you on the next one.